educators and students through instruction of self-regulation tools to best equip them in dealing with the many stressors that can be part of our education system. Raise your hand if you've ever felt stressed in your educational setting. Okay. The emphasis of her work focuses on cultural competency and school-based programs, which are informed by her clinical therapy background and 20-plus years of experience practicing yoga, in addition to 15 years of over 15 years of meditation practice, teaching both nationally and internationally in academic settings, rehabilitation wellness retreat centers, and hospitals. She holds a Master's of Arts in Counseling Psychology from Sophia University, formerly known as the Institute of Transpersonal Psychology, and a Bachelor of Arts in International Relations with a focus area on global development in South and Southeast Asia from San Francisco State University. She is certified in both mindfulness-based stress management and advanced group therapy process. She is currently pursuing a PhD in international psychology, trauma services concentration. She was born and raised in San Francisco and currently lives in the South Bay and did everything she could to get in from Chicago yesterday to be here today. So please give Anne a round of applause.
Good morning. We're hitting afternoon now, right? My time schedule's all funky because, you know, that time zone thing. Okay, can everybody hear me? Because I might not use the microphone. Yes. Back row, right? Yep. So just to let you know, the presentation that we're going to do right now is going to be very interactive. So don't get too comfortable with food because you'll be moving around a little bit. I also like to find out who's in the room. So I've done rooms bigger than this. What we're going to do is you're going to say your name, you're going to say what grade or school that you go to, and then we're just going to keep going. We're going to hold off applause until the end, okay? So the other thing too is I used to teach middle school. I love to start in the back. Yeah, okay? So just so that we get a sense, everybody gets a sense of who's in the room. It's really helpful, all right? So can we start in the back, if you don't mind? Yeah, and raise your voice. Here's your opportunity to use your voice. Say your name, all right? Okay, thank you. Please start. Thank you. Next. Thank you. Hold off. Let's hold off so that we can get into the room. Go ahead. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Natalie. I'm a college student. Yes.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emily, and I'm also a college student. I'm from Minerva Schools at KGI.
Thank you.
I am Kevin Kelleher. I graduated from Amherst. I am here in the Bay Area as a photography instructor at the Harvey Milk Photo Center.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
My name is Griselda. I'm 17, and I'm from Rice High School.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm 21, and I go to UC Davis.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Annie. I'm also 21. Also go to UC Davis.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Jessica Peregrina. I'm really thankful I'm not in school anymore, but I teach at two high schools here in OUSD.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lucy, and I'm a freshman in college as well. Thank you.
My name is Nehemiah, and I go to Rankin.
I'm Lauren, I'm 14 years old, and I'm a freshman at Pittsburgh High School.
thank you.
I'm Natalie Matamoros. I am a college student.
Thank you.
My name's John. I'm currently attending Merced College.
I'm Amanda Hanley, and I'm a senior at Golden Valley High School.
Thank you.
I'm Marcin Balbuena, and I'm a junior at Los Alamos High School.
Right on.
I'm Alexis, and I'm a junior at Montana.
Thank you. We'll start right here, over here.
I'm Charlotte. I'm a freshman at
Holly, thank you.
I'm Sadie. I'm a sophomore.
Thank you.
I'm Rachel, and I'm a senior at Compton.
Rachel, thank you.
I'm Caroline, and I'm a sophomore at Rio Americano High School.
Beautiful, thank you, Caroline. Right over here.
I'm Mike. I'm a middle school teacher, and more importantly, I'm Anna's husband.
Right on, thank you. Okay, right here.
Hi everyone, my name is Brenda. I'm coming from Merced and I'm with Building Healthy Communities Merced.
Awesome, thank you.
Monica Gomez with Building Healthy Communities in Merced.
Thank you.
Gerardo Guerrero, I'm just a humble attendee today.
Right on, thank you for humbly attending. Yes.
I'm Janet. I'm 15 and I'm a sophomore at Golden Valley High School.
Thank you.
I'm Chloe and I'm a sophomore at Golden Valley High School.
Love it, thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Quinal Caldwell, and I am a high school graduate of Alameda Island High School.
Awesome, thank you.
My name is Philip Whitmore, Oakland Tech, class of '87.
Right on. Thank you.
And
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
and just recently a new author.
New author, congratulations. Thank you.
I'm Jessica. I'm 16. I'm a junior at Yosemite.
Right on, thank you.
My name is Benjamin Mercado, and I'm a junior at Yosemite.
Junior at Yosemite, thank you, Benjamin. Over here on the end.
My name is Adrian Corona, and I'm a junior at Yosemite High School in Merced, California.
Right on, thank you.
My name is Sienna. I'm 16. I go to Duhat High School.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
My name's Akina, and I'm 18, and I'm a senior at Duhat High School.
Right on, thank you.
Salutations, I'm Jose Rojo from Southern High School, and I'm a junior.
Junior, thank you so much.
I'm Giselle. I'm 16. I go to Yosemite High School.
Thank you.
I'm Ellie. I'm Teresa. And I'm 17. I go to Yosemite High School.
Thank you.
I'm Maddie and I'm 17. Senior going to Yosemite High School.
Awesome, thank you.
I'm Alex. I'm a sophomore at UC Davis.
Wow. So the range is vast here, right? Oh, Chuck.
Hi, I'm Chuck Brown, teacher at Yosemite High School, proud teacher of my Healthy Masculinity class.
Right on, thank you. So let's give ourselves a hand of applause. Oh, did I miss two people in the back right there? Lady, did I miss you too? Can you guys do really quick introductions?
Sure. My name's Emily Harcher. I'm one of the panelists today.
Oh,
Documentary filmmaker.
thank you. And
I'm also one of the panelists today, documentary filmmaker, and my name's Contessa Gales.
perfect, thank you so much. So it takes a lot to show up. So even just showing up and saying your name, that's a big deal, right? And we have the opportunity to use our voice many times over, and sometimes a lot of people don't ask, okay? So because I know that from having taught school and being in therapy, I always ask everybody's name. I may not remember it all the time, it may take me time, but I always ask everybody's name, okay? All right, so that's the first interaction. Chuck, can we? Oh, I have the clicker, right?
I can go.
Okay, thanks.
No?
Oh, you know what? You need to click
I
on
need to
my
get,
presentation.
okay.
Yeah.
Give me just a second.
Okay. It's the
Back
PowerPoint.
over to it.
No, I think it's the one behind it.
And that's it, right?
Nope, nope. It's the one behind it. Go back to PowerPoint,
Okay.
and then there you go.
How do I visit PowerPoint? Okay.
All right, cool. Can you click again? Actually, I can click again. And then click again. Is that working? There you go. All right, really quickly. So Pure Edge is a private operating foundation, and basically we provide direct services of organization to primarily public school districts. okay? We provide them for professional development, and I'll go more into that in a second. The other thing that we do is we provide grants nationwide to organizations to help advance the work of social emotional learning. And the question might be, what's social emotional learning? I'm going to tell you. All right, let's keep going. So we are affiliated with 42 other organizations nationwide, actually inclusive of Puerto Rico, which is still in rehabilitation, right, after their hurricane a couple years ago, 2 years ago. The other country that we recently went into was also Costa Rica. Okay, so the main mission of Pure Edge is to provide both educators and learners like yourselves, because as the woman in the background mentioned, we never stop learning as students. We are always a student. Social emotional learning. So we want to grow our social emotional learning. And as I mentioned, I'll define that over the term of the presentation. The other part too is, in terms of social emotional learning, how do we try to combat that? What are stress management skills to help ourselves combat that? Okay? And this third part of that too is to bring one's open heart and one's open mind to that. Because a lot of, at least the work that we've been doing in education, we know that there has to be a certain sense of compassion and empathy and hope and motivation in what we do in order to do what we do, because it's in service of, right? So how do we bring materials and practices and what we do into the community? We're doing stuff in service of, okay? So let's start with one practice. So my goal here today is to help you guys walk away with practices that you can take anywhere. You can use them at school, at home, in public transportation like I do, because it only takes a few minutes. Okay, so that's the first point. The second point is just to reflect on the awareness that these are tools to help you transition from one thing to another, right? Annie asked earlier, it's like, does anybody feel stress? We all feel a certain amount of stress. How do we transition in balancing out that stress? Because there is negative connotations to stress, but there's also some good stress, which helps motivate us to move forward, all right? Okay, so the first practice is, this chair is very high for me, but I will try to attempt it. This is my life, stepping up. Okay, so you're gonna sit on the edge of your seats, okay? You're gonna try and have the soles of the feet on the ground. Pretend there's a floor underneath my feet. Make sure the knees are 90-degree angles. So lift the chest. And if you can, put any devices down that you have, okay? Take the palms of the hands, either place them on top of the thighs facing down or facing up. And the reason I'm gonna say keep lifting the chest is so that when you inhale through the nose and you exhale through the nose, you get the maximum amount of oxygen into the lungs, activating the brain. Very simple, right? Okay? Also, I'm gonna preface it by saying you might start yawning during a lot of these practices, or you might start feeling sleepy. Great, I did my job. I'll tell you why in a second, all right? So taking the palms of the hands, up or down, lifting the chest. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. If you feel comfortable on the next inhale and exhale, you're welcome to close the eyes or take the gaze down and forward, okay? So just remember, this is for you, your time. It's your time to check in. Inhale. Exhale. 3 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more breaths, slowing the exhale down. Inhale. Exhale. Keeping the eyes closed or the gaze down and forward. 1 more inhale. Exhale. Keep focusing on the breath, keeping the eyes closed or the gaze down and forward. We're going to do an exercise called attitude of gratitude. And on the next breath, thinking of someone or something that you are grateful for. And on your next breath, silently showing appreciation to that person or thing. And then again on your next breath, thinking of someone else or something else that you are grateful for. And on your next breath, silently showing appreciation to that person or thing. And keeping the eyes closed or the gaze down and forward, let's not forget about ourselves. Think about something in yourself that you are grateful for. Because guess what? You're awesome too. And on the next breath, silently showing appreciation to yourself. And keeping the eyes closed or the gaze down and forward, just indulging in 10 seconds of silence, 10 seconds. And then at the sound of the bell, slowly coming back into the room. Everybody okay? Okay, now we're here. Let's go. So again, my name is Ann Contreras. I'm going to have a seat here because we're going to be moving a lot. Well, a little bit. I'm the director of programs at the organization Pure Edge. I'm also a national trainer. A little bit about myself, I have a counseling therapy background. I had the wonderful opportunity to work in East Palo Alto. Yeah, so originally I'm from San Francisco. I worked in East Palo Alto as part of a partnership with Stanford University to study mindfulness on 3rd and 5th graders. It was part of a four-year study. So I taught middle school. Awesome. So middle school, who's here? Who's in middle school again or affiliated with middle school? Yeah, awesome time. So I taught them for 2 years. I will tell you my first day on that job, I walked into a gym of 45 8th grade boys, 10 of them. So they didn't have PE for 4 years, so they thought PE was recess, right? I walk in, they asked me if I'm the new PE teacher. I said, no. I said, I'm your health and wellness instructor. 10 of the boys wanted to check it out, and the remaining 35 just wanted to shoot hoops over our head, okay? So then my colleague comes in, and he's like, what's happening? And I said, I don't know, but things are gonna change, right? Because I'm from the city, right? We gotta do it together. And by the end of the first quarter, I had probably 65% participation. And then by the end of the school year, I had 100%, right? Because it's about building routines, consistency, and about building relationship. So I want to know your name. I want to know where you come from. I want to know what's in the room, okay? And then, so I did that for 2 years, and then I managed the program from the district level, which was amazing because we had 21 instructors in the school district doing the same thing at 7 of the schools. And so I got to observe classes from kindergarten through 8th grade and how they were managing these amazing practices that they were learning, which we refer to as social-emotional learning. The ability for one to help self-regulate what's happening with themselves, to be able to make a decision to respond in situations as opposed to react, right? So then, yeah, it was really amazing to watch. So we learned how to sit in a mindful minute, starting with 30 seconds, because it can be very uncomfortable, right? You're sitting there, you're like, what's going on? Why am I sitting here in the quiet for 30 seconds? And then the students being able to learn how to self-regulate themselves, to be able to do it for 45 minutes. It's a long time, right? 45 minutes. Even 10 seconds of quiet is like, wow, this is so quiet. 10 seconds. Feels like 20 minutes, right? Okay. Yeah, and then so our study ended. Great program. The other thing that we learned was that these students were learning all these techniques and then they graduated, so they moved on. But who were the constants at the school districts? All the adults. So we changed the model, and now we train all the adults about self-regulation, right? Because my understanding from a therapy counseling background is the relationship is a circle. Our teacher is in front of us, but so are the students. And so we bounce off of behavior off of each other. So if the adults are not modeling the same self-regulation practices, what's happening? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's keep moving. Okay, so our learning objectives today. Really quickly, you're going to understand, so this is not a science class, but I will give you 2 parts on some of the brains. For some of the counselors in here, they probably know a lot of this information already. We're going to understand a little bit of what's behind stress, okay? We're going to learn a little bit about neuroscience and the central nervous system, and the effects of practicing the mindfulness. The first practice you just did, you just regulated your breath. That's why you probably felt like, okay, I'm here after that, right? That was what, 1 minute, 2 minutes, okay? The other part is how mindfulness and SEL strategies can help manage stress and powerful emotions. So the social emotional learning, where do we carry it in? We could carry it in all day long. People don't even have to see that you're doing it. You could just be standing there waiting and taking 5 breaths. I hear teachers often saying, you know, when I have 40 students in front of me and I'm about to respond to them, I take 5 breaths in my head. They don't even know that I'm breathing. And then I'm like, okay, Jose, what did you want to ask me? It takes 5 seconds, right? We're gonna, oh, what's happening? Can we go back for a second? That's okay. Can we touch, and then we're gonna touch on social emotional learning, kind of just give you a definition to walk away with. And then you're gonna experience the brain break practices, which you did one of already, okay? All right, we can go on to the next slide. Here is a school district that we work with as part of our district partners in New Jersey, and what they were contending with, at least at the high school level.
District, sadly, that have found the only option was, okay, to take their lives.
You can read about it, you can talk about it, but the devastation of friends and faculty alike is something that I'm never going to forget.
There are high expectations for our students. And again, expectations of lofty ones are good until they can become potentially toxic.
And also the fact that teachers are working so hard and they are navigating the kids and the expectations and the stress.
In the schools, we have the ability to create trauma-free environments, and that's what our kids deserve.
For us to have a plan and a direction, I think is reassuring for the parents, but I also think that the teachers want it, and the kids want to talk.
We've established a relationship with Pure Edge, and their emphasis on being mindful and wellness is starting to infiltrate into our classrooms, and it's a great piece to see with our teachers and ultimately make connections with our students.
We have kids that are actually now doing SEL strategies in between math and language arts, or to start the day or to end the day, and you can see the calm.
You can see how they progress. Like today, I felt much more calm. I was able to really concentrate on the breathing and give myself a break. Like you can read that they actually progress.
And when you hear their stories and when you hear the student voice and how they're impacted by SEL and whole child, it gives reason and understanding to push forward in this work.
Inhale, rising all the way up, and exhaling, just releasing the hands. Give your legs a little shake.
I get here early in the day now, and Pure Edge reminded me that there's all these minutes in a day. You can find that time. Now I get here about 7:05 in the morning, and it's quiet. My room is quiet. That's where I get centered, and that's where I can take those breaths, visualize what I want the day to be like, and the moment that bell rings and the first kids start to come in, I am ready now.
The teachers recognize it, the students recognize it.
Protecting your mental health is just as important as protecting your physical health.
You, as a group of students that were engaged in the concerns of stress and mental health within the student population.
And you need to understand the basis of empathy, the basis of SEL, and we can create valuable relationships going forward.
We take every single one of our kids and their wellness seriously. I don't think there's a single teacher out there that doesn't care about their kids.
When we give kids those experiences, their sense of themselves and their possibilities change. And guess what? They want to learn.
This is a special place. We have a community that supports us, and their children are well supported academically, but that we make sure that within that academic support that we're also social emotional well-being as well.
So what's great about that school district is the students did something about it. It just wasn't the administration. They left it to the students to figure out and come up with solutions, right? Because that's the greater population of the school. And it provided some agency for them, and it provided connection for them within their own community, because everybody was on the same bandwagon, right? Okay, let's move on.
I became superintendent.
Is that it?
That's it, there you go. So let's everybody stand up. We're gonna do another brain break. You're gonna extend your favorite arm out, left or right, whichever one that is. This is an exercise called Take 5. You're gonna take your index finger, place it on the outside of the thumb, okay? You're gonna inhale, tracing the outline of the finger, come on up, inhale to the top of the thumb, exhale into the dip of the hand. Inhale through the nose, exhale. Good, keep going. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. We're gonna go the other direction. Inhale, I know your hand's getting tired, we're almost there. Inhale. I don't hear any breathing. Inhale. Yes, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Great, shake it out. Thank you. Okay, let's keep moving. Have a seat. Everybody okay? So this one you can do anytime, right? Starfish. Starfish in elementary, but take 5 in high school and middle school. Yeah. All right. So I like to reframe this question because I know everybody knows what stress is. Raise your hands. Who feels stress in their neck? Thank you. Who feels stress in their shoulders? Yes. Upper back? Okay, lower back? Don't worry, we're not going to keep going. But I do have 2 more questions. Digestive issues? Yeah. Sleep issues? Yeah, sleep issues. Okay. So just to let you know, those are ways that your body manifests stress. The achiness, sleeplessness, because whatever's going on up here usually translates into what's happening in the body. If there's no ability for the body to physically and physiologically release that stress, it just gets stuck. And so here we are on our computers like this, right? Or we're on our phones like this. Stuff happens here in the neck, stuff happens here in the shoulders, okay? But for working definition, this is the one we like to use. Any demand made upon the adaptive capacities of the mind and body. If you got a lot of stuff going on up here, it's going to definitely translate into the rest of the body if there's no ability to release it. There was one teacher I spoke to at one of the school districts where we work with. He said, you know what? I don't have any of that stuff because I go to the gym every day right after school for 30 minutes. He doesn't even think about it. He was one out of his whole staff of 50 that did that. he has stress, but he doesn't allow it to manifest throughout the rest of the body for the rest of the day because he knows to release it, okay? All right, let's keep moving. Thank you. So here's also another definition that you could use, allostatic load. So the allostatic load, I like to use the analogy of the backpack. A lot of people use a backpack in here, right? Do you use a backpack? Right. And remember when you were younger, it was not that heavy? And now it's like, ugh, and you got another bag to pull, right? So allostatic load is the stress that your body feels when you load up in the backpack. Okay, so for example, I'll use my self as an example. When I was in high school, I went to 2 high schools in the city. My parents are immigrants. Both of them were working 2 or 3 jobs each. So by high school, I had to work as well, right? Contributing factor to that. So I had to work, and I also had a full load of classes. I had to be at school at 7:30, would leave at 3:30, transition on public transportation, which probably takes an hour, and then head to my job from 5 to 9. And then I would still have to get home, take a break, maybe eat dinner, and then I would do my homework. So I was up till 12, right? 12 or whatever. And then start the cycle again, right? And then the weekends weren't necessarily a break because I had to work, right? So we just figure out how to balance it all, okay? So let's just say in that backpack, the first 2 bricks represent school. Let's say three bricks. 3 bricks, the first 3 bricks represent school in that backpack, right? It's pretty heavy already. It's already a quarter of the way full. The next part of that backpack, I have 2 bricks for the job I have to do, my part-time job, okay? That's another 2 bricks. So my backpack is already 3/4 of the way full, okay? And then the third part of it is I have 2 more bricks to add the next layer. I still have to do homework. And then maybe whatever chores are happening at home, okay? So it's a lot. So my backpack is full. Allostatic load. Simple love. Makes sense, right? Yeah. Okay. Because then, sometimes we have to take that backpack up, stress mounted. We're only feeling the physiological or physical amount of that stress, right? We haven't even gotten to like stress, hassle, trouble, worry, anxiety. Oh my gosh, is the bus going to be on time so I can get to my job on time, even though my backpack's already full of like 5 books? Right, I have exactly 45 minutes to get from school to work, and I can't clock in late. Right? Am I going to have time to eat dinner? Because I have this paper due that's due the next day at 7:30. Right? It's like really managing time and the input of everything that's happening all the time. Okay? Nope, can you go back for a second?
Yeah.
Thank you. So one of the ways that we have found, at least in the programs that we do, one of the ways to help regulate that transition over is doing breathing, moving, and resting. Right? In the breathing that we did, how long did that take? 5 take. Less than 2 minutes. Right? I wish I had known that waiting for the bus, to be honest, when I was in high school. Dropped in for 30 seconds, just to transition, to allow me to be like, okay, you know what, if the bus comes late, that's okay, I'm gonna get to work whenever. Okay? All right, now we can move on. So one of the ways, again, is nasal breathing, which is why I'm asking you to inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. Can you go to the next slide really quickly? One of the 2 things that I want to highlight from nasal breathing are that it warms the temperature in the body. Okay, that's one part. The second part is the length of the exhale helps control the central nervous system, which allows you to be in relaxed state as opposed to feeling anxious or nervous. Okay? For those who have allergies or colds, you can inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. It might not have the same impact as inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Okay? All right, move it. Because in the end, really through all that, you want to regulate your dysregulated state. That's actually what's happening. Does that make sense? Regulating the dysregulated state. Okay, let's keep going. All right, cat-cow. So, sitting up in your chairs. You Maybe it's a good thing that this is high. Find some room on either side of you. You're going to need some room on either side of you. Arms width distance. You might have to shift really quickly. Yeah. Okay. So let me demo first what this looks like. Okay. So movement is second. The more important part is the breathing. Okay. So just watch. All right. So everybody put their arms down. Just watching. You're going to inhale the arms up. Just watch. Exhale, turn the palms up towards the ceiling. Inhale. Just watch. Exhale, take the clasp. Inhale, push the palms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, curl the back into a C position. Take the chin towards the chest. All right, push the palms out. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, we're going to do that 5 times. All right, and then on the last one, inhale, fingertips up towards the ceiling. Exhale, release the arms to a T position. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. All right, inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. I need to hear a lot of breathing going on. I know it's going to get warm in here too, so we might need some cooler air. All right, ready? You guys got room on either side of you? You're going to need space. If you need to shift, shift. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Ready? Inhale, arms up. Good breathing. Exhale, palms up. Inhale. Exhale, take the clasp. Inhale, push the palms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, push the palms out in front, curl the back into a C position, chin towards the chest. Good, inhale, come on up. Exhale, come on down. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, come on down. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, come on down. 20 more to go. No, I'm just kidding. 2 more. Inhale. Just check in. Exhale. Inhale. Bring it up. Exhale. Come on down. Inhale. Come on up. Release the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Wiggle the fingertips. Exhale. Release the arms to a T position. Stretch the fingertips out. Inhale. Palms facing down. Exhale. Release the arms. Everybody okay? All right, look, I already see a ton of yawning. I know who's sleeping in here. All right, let's keep going. Just checking. All right, here's the science part really quickly. And then we're gonna wrap this puppy up. So, at least in terms of the neuroscience, can we click again? There you go. 2 areas, click again. 2 parts of the brain that I quickly want you to just be aware of. So if everybody puts out their fist, the profile of the fist looks like this, right? Let's say this is the brain. You stick out your index finger. On the edge of the index finger, we're going to refer to that as the amygdala, which is the blue part on the diagram. The amygdala has to do with fight or flight, okay? So you're going to take that index finger, roll it back in. So if this is the profile of the brain, it's stuck in between the brain there. The top portion is your prefrontal cortex. That's where executive functioning happens, your ability to respond or react in situations. Your ability mostly to respond. Okay, lower your hand. So if you have a bear or a tiger after you, the amygdala is the one that is firing up in the brain. But you know, most of the time we don't have a bear or a tiger chasing after us, at least I don't hope. Okay? Most of the time we actually want the prefrontal cortex to be leading, right? We want to be in that state where we can respond in situations as opposed to react. I can tell you there have been many a times where I've been on the bus and it's very chaotic on Muni in San Francisco, and stuff is happening right in front of me, and I'm just like, I'm just going to back up from this because I don't know what's going on, right? So we go back to the breath, because you know what? That activates the prefrontal cortex, and it allows us to respond. Okay? All right, let's keep moving. The vagus nerve. Who's heard of the vagus nerve? Anybody? Raise your hands. Yes. What can you tell us? Okay. All right. Awesome. Let me expound on that. So the vagus nerve is the longest nerve in the body. It's connected from your brainstem all the way down to your pubic bone. On the way down, it is attached to all of your internal organs. Okay? So I also like to reframe this in a different way. Who likes to sing? Band, choir, shower, car. How do you feel when you sing? Happy, good. What else? I don't know if you've seen, but like entertainers, they look pretty good when they're on stage, right? Because confident, yes, because they got vagal tone going on. They're singing, everything's relaxed in the body. That vagal tone, the vagus nerve is like in a peaceful state, right? Singing is one way to do that. Another way to do that is what we just did, the breathing, 5 breaths. You can also access that relaxed state. Sometimes the breathing might have to go longer, but we start with 5, right? Okay? All right, let's keep going. Because again, we want to go back to that state where we can respond as opposed to react. Okay? All right, let's keep going. All right, so lastly, there is a definition that we like to use. It's quite long, actually. So SEL stands for social emotional learning. I was actually just at CASEL, which is a conference in Chicago this past week, which is why I flew in from Chicago. Stands for Collaborative Academic Social Emotional Learning. And the idea is for policymakers to work with districts, schools, nonprofit organizations to help make social emotional learning a part of regular education. So if you have the opportunity to learn how to not be stressed throughout whatever your day is, then you can download stuff from academics, or just learning is possible, period. Because you don't have all this other stuff stressing you out. At least you know how to regulate it. It's one of the ways to help. Okay. So I'm going to read this really long definition, but I'm going to break it down. It's the process. So social emotional learning is the process through which children and adults acquire and effectively apply the knowledge, so that's like neuroscience and central nervous system that we just learned, right? Attitudes and skills, some of the brain breaks that we learned, necessary to understand and manage emotions, set and achieve positive goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain positive relationships, and make responsible decisions. Can you click on the next slide? Because ultimately, even though 5 competencies that CASEL promotes, which are self-awareness, self-management, responsible decision-making, relationship skills, social awareness. Social awareness and responsible decision-making cannot happen unless 1, self-awareness, 1, self-management, and your ability to build relationships happens. Right? So we try to maintain and balance ourselves, and then therefore we connect with other people around us, which is the bigger picture. Okay? All right. Just a few other tidbits about social emotional learning. So for at least students or learners, better social emotional skills, improved attitudes about oneself, your own agency, self-confidence, as somebody said over here on the other side of the room, right? Even just through breathing, even though we sing it in the singers or entertainers, whoa, we can access it ourselves just through the breath. Because the posture goes up and oxygen gets into the lungs and the brain is activated, okay? Positive classroom behavior, and apparently in some school districts, 11 percentile point gain on standardized achievement tests. But we can't even get to the standardized tests yet, or exams, or learning, if we haven't even self-regulated ourselves. Okay? All right. Let's keep moving. Here is our website. There are videos on there for you guys to peruse in your own time, because I know the schedule and stuff that you have to do is full. You are welcome to investigate and be curious and see what's on there for yourselves, okay? Really simple, Pure Edge Inc. So really quickly, find a partner, because we'll wrap it up this way and I'll close it out with the brain break. Find a partner, and for 30 seconds, each person, I'm gonna time you, talk about how you might implement something of your own self-care today, from what you learned today. Yes, ma'am. I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
More than 2 partners in a group?
Yes, absolutely. You can talk in 3s or 4s. Okay? 30 seconds. I'll ring the bell. Switch. If you haven't already switched.
So basically, I said that I was going to be even more even though I think so much. But on realness, I'm doing that. I can't make
Just simply take one line and yeah, okay. Good, yeah.
Oh, I'll play some music when you come back. I got you.
Raise your hand. Who here found out some interesting information about how to implement it throughout the day? Good. Anybody want to share out? I'll take 3. Yes, sir.
Well, I was just sharing this about how I've been practicing Buddhism for a long time, and for about 30 years now. And I started when I was around this age, and it definitely helped me get through school. I was able to get through boot camp, get through Marine Corps boot camp because of it, definitely.
Wow.
And a lot of other things in my life too. It's just for me seeing these young people now understanding how to really, I guess, control yourself, because you do have to do that. And like you said, respond instead of react.
Correct. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. One, self-awareness to one, self-regulation. Somebody else? Yes, sir. Yeah.
First off, they're expensive. So
They
I just
are.
did the basic, you can just try to read that 5-minute meditation. I'm still super dependent on, do I have an electronic device with me at the time? Do I have my headphones with me? Do I have exactly 5 minutes? So this is much more flexible. Like I can do this wherever. Like you said, like doing it while you're in the bus or waiting for the bus or
Yeah.
anywhere. This stress can pop up at really inopportune times. So it's nice to have something that you can just do wherever.
Easy accessibility, right? The apps are actually amazing. I wish when I had started the practices that there were apps to lead and grow my practice, because I'll tell you what, even for so I'm a pretty heavy meditator. I built that over 20 years, but it took me 20 years to sit for 45 minutes. It doesn't happen in 5 minutes, and it just takes consistency, okay? Thank you so much for that. Yes.
Those require you to pull out your phone and give your full attention to it. Like with this, if you're in a conversation with a group and it's just stressing you out, you can sort of just check out mentally without letting anybody else know and just meditate for a minute and then be like, okay, I'm here now.
Awesome. Yes, beautiful. Well said. Thank you so much. Right? So easy accessibility. These are only to complement what you guys already know. Okay? Because we keep adding to our toolbox. There's so much to learn and to keep building upon. Okay? This is only one practice that you can go back to. Practices, I should say. Okay? All right. Next slide. Thank you so much for that input. So just in terms of your own ability to access and practice, a couple of things to note. So establish something consistently. Some of you already have something going on, right? The second part is, how do you transition it throughout the day? So I used to do mine at the end of the day and would always fall asleep, so I switched it to the morning. That's just me, okay? And then also my transition times. So for me, it was on the bus. I used to have to travel on Caltrain from San Jose to East Palo Alto. And the Caltrain would be 45 minutes. Perfect timing. I just put on the sound quieting earphones, and then I would drop in. Perfect 45 minutes. Everybody's like, that commute is so long. I'm like, no, it's not. Best time of commute ever, 45 minutes. And then going home, getting rid of the day. Just leaving the day behind and dropping in. And then it's like all of a sudden, people are like, hey, do you want to go to dinner? I was like, yeah, let's go to dinner. I'm not tired. Right? And energized. And you have the opportunity to become rejuvenated. Or like, oh yeah, I got to go to the library now and go to write a 20-page paper. Better wake up for that. Right? The other thing is start small and then build. Do something simple. That's why we say start with 5 breaths. Because that really allows the body to access the central nervous system to slow it down. That's the first thing we want to do, 5 breaths. And then maybe sometimes you have the time and you have the opportunity to do 10 breaths. Go for it. Okay? Repeat, repeat, repeat. And then after that, can we go back to the last slide for a second? Thank you. Repeat, 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 right? Consistency. And then the last part is be comfortable with the exercises. That's the part of practice. Okay? To do anything, we have to practice it. And we have to build it up over time. 20 years, 45 minutes. Man, it was a lot of work, but it was worth it. I don't know what else I would have done. I wish I would have learned it earlier. I wish I had learned it during some of your ages to have access to that. Okay. All right. We're going to miss that. We're going to skip that for a second. We're going to skip that for a second. Great. Let's do a guided rest to close it out. So these are all things that I hope you guys can note and take home with you. All right. The last part is I'm going to do a body scan. So you're going to sit up. You're going to sit on the edge of the chairs again. Okay. Really quickly, we're going to close this out. Palms of the hands either facing up or down. Knees are at a 90-degree angle. Make sure the knees are hip-width distance apart. Lift the chest. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. That's what a microphone is for. Inhale. Exhale. If you feel comfortable, again, on the next breath, you can close the eyes. Inhale. Or take the gaze down and forward. Exhale. 2 more breaths here. Slow down the exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Keeping the eyes closed or the gaze down and forward. Focus on the breath. Taking the breath to the top of the head. Moving the breath over the forehead and the eyelids and the cheekbones. Moving the breath over the lips and the chin and over the front of the neck and over the chest and the belly. Moving the breath over the hips and the thighs, over the knees. Moving the breath over the shins and the top of the feet. Wiggling the toes. Notice the breath moving over the soles of the feet and the ankles and the calves. Noticing the breath moving over the back of the thighs and the hips, moving over the lower back and the middle back and the upper back. And taking a breath into the shoulders, relaxing the shoulders down, but lifting the chest. Moving the breath down the arms and the forearms and wiggling the fingers. Moving the breath over the palms of the hands and up the inside of the arms and over the biceps. Moving the breath back up over the shoulders and over the back of the neck. Noticing the back of the neck. Moving the breath over the back of the head and then at the top of the head. And just allowing the breath to rest at the top of the head. 10 seconds right here, allowing the breath to rest at the top of the head. Keeping the eyes closed or the gaze down and forward. On the sound of the first bell, lowering the chin towards the chest. On the sound of the second bell, slowly opening the eyes. And on the sound of the third bell, slowly coming back into the room. Lowering the chin towards the chest. Slowly opening the eyes, keeping the gaze down. And coming back into the room. Nice job. Everybody okay? You guys, thank you so much for having me. I hope that helped a little bit and provided you guys some tools to keep going, right? Okay. I think we're transitioning now, right? Yeah.
And we'll be back throughout the day to offer us brain breaks. If you could go ahead, please use the restroom, grab some food, and then we're going to jump into our panel as soon